Hi, my name is Nick Broughton and I'm a Randomfish, and happy Star Wars Day! Trust me, I'm a Jedi. May the 4th be with you, the traditional day in the year that, apart from many others, we celebrate the awesomeness that is Star Wars. Obviously, I talk a lot about Star Wars, it is something that I grew up with, so I thought I would share that a little bit on this traditional, amazing Star Wars Day. I first watched the trilogy, the awesomeness that was New Hope, Empire, and Jedi, and Return of the Jedi, I should say now, back when I was 5, maybe 6 years old, I believe. A friend of the family had the complete trilogy on VHS, and I used to watch it all the time. That's right, kids. If you don't know what VHS is, ask your older brothers, possibly your parents, I'm not sure. However, here's the thing. When I watched the original trilogy, I was engulfed with it. I was obsessed. And when Phantom Menace came out, I went nuts for it. I loved it. I loved the idea of it. And over Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, my brother and I both went to see it together for the first time, due to it trying to be a little brotherly bonding experience, which was kind of cool. And for me, the very history of the trilogy and the saga itself was such a big thing. The original trilogy and the prequels have always had this little thing where people have gone, if you like the prequels and you don't like Star Wars, George Lucas destroyed my childhood, blah blah blah. I was about 9, I think, when Phantom Menace came out. I think I was about 9 years old. And I didn't see it in the cinema, because it was a PG rating, and I don't think my brother really liked the idea of taking a small, annoying child to go see Star Wars. Either that, or Mum just didn't let him. It was one or the other. But then, that was the fun thing. To come Attack of the Clones and come Revenge of the Sith, we did see them together, and it was nice, it was lovely. But the prequels and the original trilogy have always had this little, these little moments where the original trilogy has always been held up against the prequels as being the better trilogy because it had so much better character and so much better story and, in a way, certain better dialogue, apart from a few select ones. I'll give you a personal hint of what one of them was. I recognised your foul stench when I was brought on board. Just let that sink in. I mean, R.I.P. Carrie Fisher, but sweet lord. Good lord, that was a weird thing. But anyway, that's not my point. This is my point. I grew up with Star Wars in such a massive, massive way. These were some of the beliefs that I held over the course of this. This was held up by the concept of Phantom Menace. Being that Obi-Wan, who was the Padawan, had a blue lightsaber. Now Luke, when he was just training on Dagobah, also had a blue lightsaber. As well as when he started out, he had a blue lightsaber. But when he became a Jedi Knight, and therefore a Jedi Master, he then received a green lightsaber, as did Qui-Gon Jinn in Phantom Menace, the Master of Obi-Wan. Now, the massive points on this one and the massive holes in this theory were, how about Obi-Wan? He had a blue lightsaber in New Hope and he was the Jedi Master at that point. And also then, future into the trilogy, how come Anakin had a blue lightsaber when he was a Jedi Knight and not a green one, as the theory would so suggest? Well, my theories on that one when I was a kid were kind of interesting in that I had this theory that Obi-Wan had kept his blue lightsaber but gotten rid of his green one as a mark of shame or something, in that, he'd been a master but he'd failed his apprentice, i.e. Darth Vader, aka Luke Skywalker. Anakin Skywalker, not Luke Skywalker, what's wrong with me? But he kept his blue one as sort of a little reminder that he still was a Jedi and that if he needed to fight, he still had it in order to fight. And then the Anakin theory was that, in my head at the very least, it was that in the Clone Wars, he'd never achieved any kind of high rank. He'd just been fighting. He was just another soldier. So when he became Vader and slaughtered all the Jedi, he'd never had a blue. He'd never ascended to having a green lightsaber. He'd only ever had a blue one. So that was sort of my little theory. And then, of course, Attack of the Clones: Revenge of the Sith came out, and it was just, no, that never happened. I mean, the first thing that really botched that entire theory was, you know, Mace Windu had a purple lightsaber. That's right, just spit all over my theory, Samuel L. Jackson. Really nice. Although, it wasn't his fault. It was my fault for creating the stupid theory. But then again, I was a child. What do you expect was going to happen? As the prequel trilogy sort of came out, I learnt more and more about Star Wars. I was more ingrained in it. And of course, I read the books. I started reading the books that surrounded the area and surrounding like the expanded universe. The then expanded universe, no longer, not Legends continuity as it now is. And as I've grown up, I've seen other sci-fi shows happen, and they've all been building it on Star Wars and such things. And the funniest thing for me is the whole Star Trek Star Wars argument. Now, when I was younger, I did fall into this trap. Hell, every so often I still fall into this trap. But that's a matter of personal preference. I just don't find Star Trek, at least the original show, all that engaging. I don't find the Next Generation all that engaging. I don't find any of the Star Trek shows in that way. I just don't. The new films, on the other hand, a bit more to them, but I'm still not a massive fan of them. But then that's just me. The interesting part is trying to figure out, is seeing people who like Star Trek more than Star Wars, and the arguments that you used to have in concerning them. The Star Trek versus Star Wars argument has been going on for years. It happened so much more than I thought it would. I think my brother at one point said to me something along the lines of, you have to pick a side, Star Trek or Star Wars. He was kidding, obviously. But it was sort of that thing where, as a child, you would take that sort of thing seriously, and you would take that level of commitment seriously. As I would hypothesize in the future, you know, passing on Star Wars to future generations is all fun. I've passed on my love of Star Wars to many people over the years. Not through myself sort of wanting to knock them away from Star Trek, but just sort of saying, look at this is amazing, this is something that I've always enjoyed. One of my favourite things ever was watching A New Hope with someone and me being completely ingrained in it, going, isn't this amazing? Isn't this incredible? And someone sat there next to me going, yeah, this is so much fun. Weirdo. But, anyway, this video was kind of short. It's all good. In the comments below, either here or on Facebook, where I will share it, or on Twitter even, if you want to tweet me, it's at the Randomfish, so please do. But I want you to tell me your Star Wars stories. I want you to tell me how you felt about the original trilogy, how you feel about the prequels, how you feel about this new trilogy, how you feel about all of it. Did you read the books? Have you been a part of the expanded universe? Do you like what they've done now? What do you think about the whole lightsaber theory? All of this sort of thing. The love of Star Wars. To quote Dash Star, quote Dash Star quite a bit here. Our love of Star Wars surrounds us and binds us together. I'm not stealing his bit. I'm just saying it. That is a fact. I do feel that the love of Star Wars for fans, it does link us all together. It does make us one. We are stronger together than we are apart. We are our own Jedi and Sith orders together. Please, tell me about your Star Wars. Tell me about what your Star Wars story is. And you know what? To finish off this video, I'd like to send you off not with the words of a crazy man, but with the words of one of the wisest and most livable droids in the entire universe. R2, what were the final words that you wanted to say here? Really? Randomfish and R2-D2 out.